episode of the Coffee and Cigars live stream and the Thursday night hang. How's it going? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's going well this week. How's everything happening? We're here and making coffee. Oh, that's really kind of far. Let's get that a little bit closer. I think that's probably better right there. How's that? All right, that's good. I think that's going to be all right. So, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the show. The Thursday night hang. What's happening? I don't know what's going on. Anything happening here? Mom, good evening to you, Ben. How are you doing today? I've got a little bit of a setup that's changed here. Let me know, does this get muffled? Because you know what, I've got this. Maybe I'll put it on the outside. Maybe that's better. Let me know if it gets muffled, because one of the things when you're wearing like a t-shirt, these things kind of move around a lot, so it's never really as good as it could be. So, all right, so today we're here and we're going to be doing some Davidoff cigar tasting. Today, and why Davidoff? So next week, I was called. George called me and was like, "Hey, would you mind doing a coffee pairing with a Davidoff cigar? A Davidoff cigar. They're going to be having. Davidoff is coming to Capitol Cigar and Tobacco next Thursday, and they're going to be having a tasting of the Escurio Gran Perfecto, which is a figurado shaped cigar. And God, this is irritating me. Let's put that here. Maybe that's all right. And so they're going to have this tasting. And it's going to be with the cigar, Vosges chocolate, and Spro coffee. And so I'm putting together. They were like, maybe a nice coffee to go with the cigar. And I was like, okay, let me work on that. So I was thinking about I was reading about the cigar, thinking about the cigar, thinking about the coffee. And today is going to be kind of the test drive for this. I picked out this coffee called the Pear Notes coffee. It's from Matagalpa in Nicaragua, and it's a nice little coffee that I think will go well with the cigar. But we're gonna find out tonight. Tony, what's going on, Tony? How are you? Good to see you. So this is kind of the process of coffee, pairings that you got to think about. You think about the cigar that we're pairing with, think about the coffees, and then try to find something that's going to match. And like last week, Halloween, last Friday, I roasted the coffee we're going to be using. I roasted last Friday, and I tasted it then, and it was good. But of course, one of the things about coffee roasting is that you really need a week or so for the coffee to lose a lot of its CO2 degas so that you can actually taste the actual flavor of the coffee. And so we're right at that point where it's coming alive now. So we're going to taste it today with the cigar. Hopefully this will be the right one, because if this doesn't perform well, then it's going to be a little more of a crunch to get us to get a coffee that's going to work better, right? So that's one of the issues for today. George Juan, how are you, man? Good to see you. And as you can see, I've got a different setup here. I'm at a table. I've got this table. I believe this is a red oak table or a golden oak table. You can kind of see here. Let me pull this stuff aside. And this is an interesting little piece. So my friend Matt had a tree taken down in his yard, a big old like red oak tree, like huge. And so he had this huge like stump left over. And so he's kind of an artistic kind of minded guy. And so he called up one of his friends who's a carver and say, hey, can you carve a chair out of my trunk? And the guy comes over with his chainsaw and comes and basically chainsaws out chunks of this huge stump and puts like a Simpsons kind of chair in its place. So he basically carved out a Simpsons style chair out of this red oak stump. It's pretty epic. And I was like, whoa. And so he had a couple of these huge chunks, like they're like this big, that deep, sitting around. I was like, hey man, can I get one of those from you? And he's like, yeah, man, take what you want. Then I was like, all right, I got an idea for it. I wanted to make a bandsaw box out of it, right? So I'm thinking, because bandsaw boxes are small, right? Like this is a bandsaw box that I made several months ago, right? I think I've showed this here. Bandsaw box, kind of nice. This is a Michael Cullen style bandsaw box, because I took a workshop I took a seminar with Michael Cullen, and this is what I came up with after that seminar. And so you kind of cut it out, but this is going to be, most of them are about this size. This is a pretty big bandsaw box, but most bandsaw boxes are small. This is going to be huge. It's like I was like, well, I don't know why do I want to make something that big? I don't know. I just thought it'd be kind of interesting and different. And as I was thinking about it more, I was thinking, I need to maybe I can make it into a coffee grinder, right? Like a big old coffee grinder. But all I have is this small crank hand grinding thing, right? Which would be, it's super diminutive on this huge chunk of red oak. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to go find a big one. And so I started looking online on Marketplace, and there's a company called Enterprise that makes those big flywheel type of like coffee grinders, and they're kind of expensive. Like they're maybe the cheapest one is like $250 that I saw out there, and like the rest are like up to $500 plus. So it's like, ooh, kind of pricey. I don't want to spend that kind of money. I mean, I want to try to save as much. It's just kind of a fun project, not really a revenue driving product. So I was still looking, and I found this person selling a table on Marketplace out in Thurmont, Maryland, way out by Frederick, right? And they wanted $100 for it. And I was like, what? So what it is, they took this old cast iron coffee grinder, and they bought it this way. But someone along the way, over the last maybe 100+ years, decided that they were going to weld on a piece of steel to this grinder and make it into a table. And that's what I'm sitting at now. This is the table that is made from this grinder. And the crazy thing is that it's by a company called Zassenhaus. And I'm going to show you it from a little bit of a distance so that you can see it. It's kind of cool to a start, but it's also kind of like crazy. So as you can see here, there it is. The crank flywheel cast iron coffee table. Like this is coffee table as never before, or like as literal as possible. So let's go down here, and the crank works. Like we were actually grinding with it today. Put some coffee in here. You can kind of see it. It's kind of hard to see, but actually, let me go get I must have a light somewhere around here, and I do have tools. So here it is. So you can see the burrs inside the grinder, and we tried it, and it got really fine grind, and I was like, what? This is crazy. So it's in great, considering, so Zassenhaus is a company that started in 1867. So ostensibly this Zassenhaus, and you can see here on the crank, it says Zassenhaus, right? Zassenhaus is over here. And ostensibly this is from the 1800s, the late 1800s. So I'm like, what is this craziness? All right, let's put this back onto our stand. Whoops. And so it's probably over 100 years old. So, I don't know what to say, but I was like, oh, okay, cool. So the idea is that I'm going to take it apart and utilize the grinder, make the bandsaw box, and then mount the grinder on top of the bandsaw box as kind of like a monolithic coffee center station. Let me adjust this a little bit more. I think that does it. So that's kind of this little project, and it's kind of, as I've been sitting here with it for the last day, at first when I first saw it, I was like, okay, well, we're just going to get rid of this. But it's kind of, I think it's not bad. Like the table's not bad. It's kind of a nice table. It's fairly sturdy. I mean, the whole thing, and the whole table is on the little arm of the cast iron grinder, and I lifted it by the top, and it's like, well, okay, that's not bad. So the idea is that I'm going to eventually take it apart and then reutilize the grinder. But the problem is that I was looking at the block of wood earlier today, and I was like, I don't know if the block of wood is big enough. So that could be a problem. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, so that's kind of my thing. So we're going to make some coffee. We're going to make the Pear Notes coffee from Nicaragua. And I got my kit here. This is my little coffee kit sustainer. Now, this is something that I've been thinking about for like a year now. And I finally got all the components to make it. And in my mind, I thought it would look pretty awesome. But then when I finally put all these red pieces on this sustainer, I feel like it's missing something. Like I'm just not as like, oh. I was kind of like, oh, what? So let's get our coffee. We've got our Pear Notes coffee, and we've got our mug. I got the preheated water. We're not going to boil water today. We're just going to go with this. And got our brewer here, the Kogu brewer, and some, what do you call it? Some filters. And then we are going to grind the coffee. Since we have a big grinder, we might as well do some grinding here. All right, so the Pear Notes, I have this little sample in here that we're going to use in the Kogu brewer. So the Pear Notes, there's the Pear Notes. Man, it's got lovely aromatics to it. One of the reasons it's called Pear Notes because one of the characters typically in this coffee is kind of a pear flavor, pear note-ish kind of coffee. So I thought it might go well with the flavor notes that I was reading about this Davidoff Escurio. But I could be totally wrong, and we're going to find out, though. Brian's with us. What's going on, man? How are you? Good to see you. All right, so we're just going to put the coffee inside this Kogu grinder. The nice thing about this Kogu grinder is that it fills up the chamber. Once you fill up the chamber, it's totally like 24 grams. Like it's surprisingly how well they were able to design this chamber so that it holds just the right amount of coffee that I'm going to need for my cup. Okay, here we go. So how's your week been? Everything good? What happened? Like, I don't know what it is, but I felt like this week was like super fast. Like yesterday I was like, it's Tuesday, right? And I was like, no, it's Wednesday, son of a gun. How did that even happen? Totally don't know. Well, some news. I remember the last few episodes I've been talking about how Rusty was going to be competing at the Widmer's Tobacco Chili Cook-Off, and that's the yearly chili contest that Widmer's just south of Philadelphia has. And like I said last week, I think it's really a great event. It's really a fun time to hang out with a bunch of guys there. And I've gone every year that Rusty has competed, but unfortunately I had a class that I forgot about last weekend that I had signed up for, so I had to attend that. Now, throughout the years, Rusty has been battling to get first place, and he's always missed it. Sometimes, I think one year he might have even got second place, but I think he got fourth last year. So it's always been kind of like just out of reach. Well, this year he won, and I was like, oh, that's amazing, dude. It's amazing. So Rusty is the Widmer's Chili Cook-Off champion for 2025. So when he comes here, we'll have to make sure we give him a good round of congratulations to him. So that was really nice to see. Okay, let's get our filter out of here. Okay, filter. And then our filter holder goes on top there. This is the one thing that does irritate me about this Kogu. I wish it just kind of like slides back and forth over, like, then there's a hole here so they fall through. I wish they had more of like a positive lock so that it would be harder for you to disengage it. But that's like the main thing that I would criticize about this particular brewer. Put that back. And now we've got our coffee. So I've got it, instead of boiling water like we did last week, I figured let's just, preheat it and then I won't have to worry about it. As you guys know, we've used this Zojirushi thermos many, many times and it holds temperature beautifully. So it's pretty much just off the boil. You just pour it in, nice pouring condition. Whoops, maybe not this time. I got to see some of the later episodes of the season of Only Murders in the Building. I've seen all of 9 episodes. There's still one more, the season finale. I haven't been able to get time to see that. It's been a pretty good season, I think. All right, so we've got. I ended up hanging out with this furniture maker today up in Pennsylvania. Oh, come on. Outside of York. A guy by the name of Walter White. White. Oh, man. What is it? And he's a furniture maker up in York and does beautiful work. Like, it's really, like, he's really into period furniture and reproductions. Trained in France, of all places, with the Lacombe family. And I was like, what? So, because my friend Matt was buying a saw from him, and actually, it's kind of funny because like I found the saw on Marketplace last night, and I was like, oh. So I messaged the guy, and I was like, hey man, I'm interested in the saw, and then I never heard back. So I was like, man, what's going on there? I hope he comes back, calls me back, so that I can come get it. And Matt messages me this morning. He's like, "Hey, man, have you seen this listing?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I messaged the guy, but he doesn't. I'm waiting for him to write me back." And he's like, "Well, I messaged him and he wrote me back." And I was like, "Son of a gun!" So he messaged the guy like at 9 o'clock when the listing first came up, and I didn't see it till like 11. So I was totally like later. And so we went. So he was like, "Yeah, so let's go check it out." I was like, "All right, let's go check it out." So he got it, and I was like, "Ah, nice." But we ended up hanging out with this guy because he was really cool and really interesting. All kinds of like interesting like tooling and stuff like that. I was like, oh. He's like, yeah, man, if you guys need any help with anything, let me know. And I was like, oh, I might have to take you up on that because he's got like a 24-inch jointer and planer. And I was like, what? 24-inch? I could totally use, because that kind of capacity means that you can surface like material in one pass instead of having to split it and then run it through and then reattach it later. You can do one whole piece. And I was like, I might have to ask you for a favor on that in the future. Okay, we're going here. We're going. Like I was actually going to smoke this cigar earlier in the week, just kind of on my own. But then I was like, I just never got around to it. It's like, oh man. Like I remember in years past, like it would always be like cigar every night cigar night. But man, now it's like once a week, this show and maybe one other time, because there's so much else that I need to get done. And it's like, man, it'd be nice to go back to that old schedule. All right, so almost at 300 milliliters, or 2 cups of coffee. There's actually a scale on this side. I should probably show it to you there. I've got a bunch of like sawdust on me. After we did some roasting today, Matt was like, "I got some extra wood, man. If you need it, we can split it, and then you can take it." So I ended up filling my truck with all this like split wood. I was like, "Oh man." And it's not really dry. It's actually like 19%. So still is gonna, if I really wanted to wait, it would take another year for it to fully cure. But, as long as as long as you start off with a hot enough fire, you can burn anything. All right, let's put this in here so we can keep our heat. Oh, it should smell. Let's smell. Let's see how this. All right. Not bad. There's bright notes to it. It's kind of a medium body. Definitely, there's a juiciness. There's a pear. That light acidity is sweet. That does give a pear kind of like character to it. That's kind of interesting. All right. All right. Let's put this over here. All right, so now we can look to our cigar, which I picked up from the local cigar store not too far away. Like George was telling me, "Oh man, I can get you a cigar next week," and I was like, "All right, cool." But I was like, "Man, I should just go get one so that I'll be prepared." And yeah, so it's a 5-inch cigar that is figurado shaped. So Gran Perfecto is a figurado shape, as you can see here. So 50 ring gauge here, 60 ring gauge, 61, they say 61 here. And, it should hopefully be quite interesting. Like this is using, what is it? There's Ecuadorian wrapper. Binder and fillers are the binder's from Brazil, from a place called something Santos, and it's kind of like about an 8-hour drive from Rio de Janeiro, or a 12-hour drive from Sao Paulo, the capital. So it's pretty far out there, and it's a cacao growing region that I guess they grow tobaccos as well. And one of the interesting things when I was in Sao Paulo a few years ago, the Brazil Arapiraca wrapper that Roma Craft uses is Brazil. Arapiraca is Brazil, and so if you go to the markets there, they have tobacco stores where they sell like, let's say the Arapiraca is a great example. They kind of take the Arapiraca and they not braid it, but kind of twist it, and they have these long ropes, and you buy it by the rope. And I don't know what was wrong with me. Like I didn't even think that I should buy a piece of rope to smoke it. Especially I saw this Arapiraca, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's like the same tobacco that Roma Craft uses, but I didn't buy it, and I don't know why. And now that I think about it, I was like, I should have bought some. Maybe next time I'll have to call up one of my friends there and be like, hey, can you bring some of that when you come to the United States? But there is a lot of tobacco being grown in Brazil, and the binder and some of the filler is from Brazil, from this something Dos Santos area. And the other filler that they're using is a Mata Fina from the Dominican Republic. So that is basically the cigar. It's supposed to be a little bit of spicy and have some, good body, but it's actually kind of robusto size, so 5 inches, so a little bit on the smaller side as far as like time of and length of smoke, or we would presume. I mean, who knows? It could last. It does say 70 minutes, 50 to 70 minutes on their website, so could last that long. So probably 45 minutes for me. And what else did I say? Nice looking wrapper. Like, look at that. I do have. Let's see. How much was it? I bought two because I figured I would smoke two at some point. But I got it at the local cigar shop, and oh man, really? Did I spend that much money? $24.89. Wow, I bought two of them. That was crazy. Why did I do that? Wow, $24.98. This better be a hell of a cigar for $24. Now, if you want to come to Capitol on next Thursday, by the way, because I'll be at Capitol next Thursday, we will not have a live stream next Thursday. We will resume after next week on the, oh, yeah, well, we're getting closer to, yeah, we'll be going into this holiday season soon, but we're going to continue with live streams. The plan is to continue with live streams, just not next week on the 13th. So it's like I said, it's a tasting, a pairing of cigars with chocolate, I think some libation as well as coffee. It's going to be $100 a person, and yeah, it's going to be at the shop. So that's really all the details that I know. There, I do have some links down in the description below in case you're interested in going and signing up. There's booking information as well as a little bit more information and a link to the Davidoff website if you want to look at and see what they say about this Escurio Gran Perfecto. That is there. But $24, so $25 for a cigar. Now, in the world of Davidoff, that's probably not terribly expensive because, Davidoff white label is very expensive. It's been expensive when cigars weren't expensive. Like I remember, 10, 12 years ago, one of our friends, Byron, would buy like these Davidoff white labels every day, and he would spend like $27 a cigar. He's like, wow, that's a lot of money, especially then. So maybe $25 is not so much. And this is of course not their white label, which is probably now $35. So who knows? But still, $25. You really want to have a great cigar experience for 25 bucks. Like, yeah, you're Davidoff, but are you going to deliver something really awesome with this cigar? Like, I would expect so. $25, I'm expecting something really good. Like, we should not be in like the low 80s for a cigar, like at this price point, right? I think we're just going to throw that down there and say, Craig, man, how are you? Good to see you. How's everything going up in Ottawa? It's been a while, but good to see you. All right, so like I said, we got this Davidoff, and we're going to get our grading form, get my pencil, back to using this Blackwing again. Last week I was using the Blackwing Festool pencil. This is the Blackwing. This is the famous Blackwing, right? This is the one that like everybody's supposedly crazy about, and it's called half the pressure, twice the speed. This is the Blackwing 602 pencil, which is kind of like, I think it's supposed to be a little bit softer than a 2B pencil. I've been using it for the last few days, and it's a pencil. It's pretty good. Like I'm liking it. I'm liking it enough, right? So we're gonna use that and see what we got going on. Craig says it's 32 degrees on the porch. Doesn't sound too bad. Doesn't sound too bad. 0 degrees Celsius, not bad for Ottawa. Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you're a big baseball fan, but congratulations on winning the World Series. Oh no, you didn't win. I'm sorry. What am I saying? Sorry, my apologies. I was just because I don't watch baseball. I have no idea what's really happening in baseball. The only reason that I knew that there was Dodgers and Blue Jays was because one of my friends who's a Giants fan was making fun of the Dodgers at one point. And I was like, is he a Dodgers fan? And then another friend of mine who lives in Toronto was like, he's from Baltimore originally, but he's in Toronto now, and he's all like excited, and he's all like, oh, we're getting excited. And I was like, huh? Oh, I guess they're in the World Series. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I totally because when I saw part of the last game, the number 7 game, and Toronto was like three runs ahead, and I was like, oh, they're doing very well, so they probably are going to win. And then I heard later that they had lost. I'm sorry about that. So terrible. I don't know much about baseball. I'm from Baltimore. We have got the Orioles, but the Orioles have not been a good team since 1983, since I was in 8th grade. Right? That's when we won the World Series. And like, yeah, my friends, my cousin, they're all like, oh yeah, we did really well a couple years ago. Did we win? Have we made it to the World Series? If we don't make it to the World Series, we're not doing very good. That's just my thought. Like my whole thing with like public funding, and this goes back many years. Like when the Orioles were threatening to leave Memorial Stadium and go somewhere else, the city of Baltimore and the state gave up about $250 million to build Camden Yards. And it's a beautiful stadium. Like, it's an amazing stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. But $250 million. Then 4 years later, when the Ravens were brought to Baltimore in 1996, the state again coughed up $250 million to build what was then called PSI Net Stadium. And okay, so I mean, I don't really like that kind of idea. Like, why are we spending money on these teams when they make their own money? Like, the Ravens are a billion-dollar organization. They can afford to buy their own, right? They can build their own. They can do whatever they want with their money, right? But here's the thing: if you're going to use public funding, okay. But it should be understood that if you take $250 million from the city and state of Maryland, city of Baltimore, state of Maryland, then you owe the championship within 5 years. Like, that's my thought. It's like, you need to deliver a championship in 5 years. Not just make it, but you should win. Right? That's performance, baby, right? Like, you're not working your job and like not performing and gonna hold your job. You're gonna get fired. And that's what I think we should be holding these teams to. Ravens came to Baltimore in 1996. We gave them $250 million. We built a stadium for them. By 2000, 4 years later, they delivered the Super Bowl and won. Baltimore Orioles, 1992, we give them the stadium. I mean, the stadium opened 1992. It is now, 33 years later, we still have no Super Bowl. We have not even appeared in the World Series since 1983. So I'm like, we need to put people's feet to the fire here. Like, the Angelos have been sucking on the people and sucking down everyone's money while not delivering. So I don't know. This is why I'm not a big Orioles. This is why I'm not a big baseball fan. Like, I'm just like, and then there's the Nationals, right? So I went to the Nationals game a few years ago when they first built their stadium, and I was like, disappointed. Like, it's a modern stadium. It's I guess a nice modern stadium, but I was like, this is the nation's capital. This is the nation's capital's team. What is this rubbish looking stadium? Concrete and modern. It should be like Empire and like, it should look like DC, not like it looks like it belongs in the suburbs. And I was like, oh God, what is wrong with these people? Anyway, enough of that. Tony says, I'm having an LCA Hold Fast Toro made by AJ Fernandez and back to the Diet Cherry Pepsi. Nice. How is that holding up, man? How is that holding up? Is this no, that's not the one we talked about last week. The Hold Fast was not what we talked about last week. George Sam says, enjoying My Father Blue with a dirty vodka martina and blue cheese olives. Ooh, that sounds very nice. So the My Father Blue, I was thinking the My Father Blue, does that have like a blue cheesy character to it? We're back to the blue cheese. Like, the blue cheese was like last week. Wasn't that the LCA blue cheese that we're talking about? Back to the blue cheese. I don't know why. Rusty's with us. What's going on, man? The champion is here. The chili champion and AeroPress champion. So many championships under this guy's belt. The drive home time, nice. Good to see you. And George says, congrats, Chili Master. And Tony says, congrats on your victory Sunday. So there it is. Everybody's excited. All right, so let's have a look at our Davidoff. Nice overall wrapper. A little bit veiny, not heavy veins, but a little bit veiny. Granted, the Escurio is in a black label. It's not their top of the line stuff. It's just kind of like, I think that these black label stuff is below the white label. So, you're not paying $35. So, and you're paying $25. So it should be light manure barnyard kind of fragrance. Let's see where we are here. I'm going to say there. Sweetness, enticing, not bad. Not a bad aroma. Tonino Lamborghini cutter, I'm going to use that. We're going to cut down, like, here's the thing. When you're doing figurados, I kind of like always try to decide, where do I want to cut? Do I want to cut it down here? Do I maybe cut it there? I'm going to cut it right about there. No, maybe there. I'm going to go right there. I'm going to cut it. I think I need to oil this thing. So there's our cut. I mean, the cigar looks nice overall. Nice. Okay, let's do some cold drawing. The manure in the barnyard and the sweetness is somewhat pronounced on the nose, but on the palate, there's something, but I'm not really getting what it is. Tony says the Black Label stuff has tobaccos that are outside of their classic Dominican blends for the white series. Ah, okay. Okay. But in the pantheon of Davidoff, are these cheaper than the white label? Is that right? Okay, so on the back of my throat, there's a little bit of spiciness now. Okay, interesting. We're going to use our death lighter here. This is the one that nearly burned down my car many years ago. That's the one that doesn't turn off, so you got to make sure you turn it off. Davidoff Escurio Gran Perfecto. I'm hoping for $25, I'm hoping this is going to be a fantastic cigar. Like I'm hoping. One that I'm going to jive with and be very pleased that I spent $50 to get 2 of them. There's this little piece that doesn't seem like it's lighting, right? Like right there at the top. So irritating. There's a bit of spiciness right on the top. Very spicy. A little bit of like red pepper, like a cayenne. Oh, I need to turn on the fan. This old fan, I got to hit it so that it starts to turn. It's really kind of ridiculous. Okay. Spice, like red spice, black pepper, maybe some cayenne, and maybe a little bit even hints of Tabasco. Good body, interesting. Okay. Starting out with some strong notes. So it's not like, we're not starting out like some benign, like, oh, you know, we're just a cigar. This is like, oh, this is something to behold. This is like, okay, it's attractive, it's commanding the attention. It's like, okay, we're starting off. We got some spiciness going on. We got some fireworks happening. It's announcing its arrival in a very pronounced way. Good body. Tony says that I think some of the lower end white labels are cheaper than the Escurio or the Winston Churchill or some of the other black labels. Okay, got it. Okay, the first couple puffs. Pretty good. All right, so, but, you know, the fragrance was okay. Cold draw, okay. I mean, I think 8 to start out with. For the fragrance cold draw, very good, but just very good. The draw has good tension, good smoke production. Like, I'm actually enjoying the puffing experience. Like last week, the puffing was very pleasurable. This one too, starting off very pleasurable. Now the strength is kind of like on the edge, meaning that it's on the edge of being maybe too much, right? And actually, speaking of which, the body last week I was all fine throughout the whole live stream. Then when I finished, I was like, oh, that cigar was actually heavy. Last week's cigar turned out to be pretty heavy. And I was like, oh. You know, sometimes when you get too heavy a cigar, you need to go sit down for a while. That was my 10-15. Okay. There's some body, there's some strength, there's some spice, like pronounced spiciness. Like What I think about this, and maybe it's just because I'm thinking about Brazil and this kind of like, loose connection to Brazil. But, when I think about this kind of spice, this kind of little bit of dark character on that spice, it makes me think of the Arapiraca from Brazil, the stuff that's the wrapper on the Roma Craft Revenge. And I feel a slight kinship between those two. Not that it's a totally different tobacco from my understanding, but I feel a kinship. Who knows? Maybe it is the Arapiraca wrapper. Who knows? I don't know. It doesn't really say. Brian wants to know if Stephen, if you're out there yet, let us know. Normally it's a little bit early for him. Oh, it is. It's almost 9 o'clock. Yeah, he's probably coming out soon. Okay, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Spice. It's intriguing. It's interesting. It's holding attention. $25 though? Well, at the very least, I'm not disappointed at this point. All right, let's see how this coffee is. How does this coffee go? The spice with the lighter pear note, kind of light brightness. One thing about this cigar, the spiciness, the composition is encouraging spit production, right? Like I'm getting a lot of saliva based off of that. Brian says that light save. Oh, that's right. In Phoenix doesn't change, right? So where they were 3 hours. So does that mean they were 3 hours before? Now they're just 2 hours difference? Is that correct? Because we fell back, they didn't move. So now they moved from West Coast Pacific time. They moved to Mountain time. Is that correct? Craig says he's having the Monte Cristo Especialis #2, a Panatella, not the big torpedo, 16 years old and classic Monte. Oh, that sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. Yeah, Brian says it is 2 hours now. Oh, wow. Okay, so he should be well out of work by now. So as you know, as I mentioned last week, I've been using these pencils, right? These Blackwing pencils. They've been pretty good. Now, Blackwing has this whole hype about them. People are crazy for them. And so one of the things that I found that they had that the people were really liking is this Blackwing, what they call the long point sharpener. And this is their one-stage sharpener. This is the Festool version, right? I don't know, did I buy this one or somebody gave it to me? I think I bought this one. And I was curious about it, right? So I was curious about, Blackwing makes this in their normal Blackwing line. And then they have this co-branded. And, you take it off and there's a nice sharpening system. Oh, I don't even know how to take it apart. I'm not going to take it apart. I'm not going to worry about it. But this is all like anodized aluminum, machined aluminum, and the shavings stay inside here. And it puts a nice point on it, right? So here's the point on this, right? So if I wanted to sharpen it up, it's pretty sharp. I mean, it's pretty much the point that it needs to be, I think. It's not really doing it. There we go. So it puts that point on it. And, it's a nice point, right? Like this is OL 253. And the 602 is softer than the 2B lead, so it's pretty decent. maybe a little bit softer than I like. I'm really used to the 2B type of pencil. And so we're using Davidoff Escurio Gran Perfecto. Like, I find the 602 to be a little bit on the softer side for me, right? I like to be harder. And they have this sharpener, and then they have this sharpener. I picked this up recently. Now, this sharpener is like $35. And the interesting thing is that you'd think that when Festool, co-branded with them, Festool would like make it more expensive. It's actually about the same price. So that's why I bought the Festool one rather than the other one, because this is a little bit more unique than the other one. And then the other day when I was at, or a few weeks ago when I was at Bertram's Inkwell in Bethesda, they're a big Blackwing dealer. They had this. This is another long point sharpener. Now this is like almost 20 bucks, like $18, something like that. So in world of sharpeners, it's fairly expensive. And I was like, oh gosh, but let's see what it's like. I figured let's see what it's like. Now this is what they call a two-stage sharpener. Let me clear this out. You can see there's some things in here, Blackwing, it's all kind of nice. It's got this plastic case, but it's got this like rubberized plastic on the side. So it actually tactile feeling is really kind of like pleasurable. And you see that there are two, holes and two blade ports, right? There's actually an extra blade right in there. So what this is, these are two-stage sharpeners. Unlike some of the other twin sharpeners that are for small pencils and thicker pencils, this is just for the regular size pencil. And what this does is, if I was to grab another pencil, so let's say I take this Festool Blackwing pencil, and I start with the number 1 side, right? There's this side here. What it does, it actually shaves off the wood without actually shaving the lead. And actually there's an offset to it, so it's interesting. So what you do is you rotate it until it kind of stops rotating. You'll feel it, like right there. And now you can see the point is elongated, the lead is elongated. Now you actually put it on this other side, the right side for your position, and that strictly shapes the lead. You do that until it stops. And now you get this long point. So, and actually that's fairly decent, right? But it's $18. I was like, $18. So somewhere along the way I was reading about this sharpener, because I kind of like it, and I kind of keep it in the car, keep it with me, and I was like, should I get more? Do I want to spend $18 to $20 for more of these? And that's kind of a lot of money for a sharpener. And that's when I learned from reading on like Reddit or something, where the guys were like, Blackwing doesn't make this. This is a white label item for Blackwing. So much like Festool orders this from Blackwing and they make it, they order this from another company called Cum, K-U-M, in Germany, that actually makes these type of pencil sharpeners. And I was like, oh. And they're like, you can get them for much cheaper from Cum, for like an art supply store. And since I was out in Frederick yesterday, I looked on Google and I was like, well, I wonder if there's any art stores around here. And I found this art store, something corner, really cute little tiny art store. And I called them up and I was like, hey, do you have these Cum pencil sharpeners? They're like, yeah, we have those. So I'm coming over. So I went over there and I arrived and they only had two. And I picked up, I bought them both. I'm like, you know what? They're like $10. I'm gonna buy both. That's all they had. If they had more, I probably would have bought all of them. And I'm just gonna leave them wherever I want to leave them, so I don't have to think too much about it. But then I noticed later, as I was in the car, I was like, it was like $20 or something like that. And I was like, then I noticed that, the prices are different. One is $9.65, the other is $10.35. And I was like, what's the difference there, right? And I was like, what is the difference? So I haven't opened these yet. I just looked it up, and so this is the 021 version, or what they call the the 2M, or the 2, the 02, whatever it's called. And so automatic long point sharpener. So now the style is different, right? Like the style of it is, like this is just all like translucent plastic, and it's fairly slick plastic, where this is this kind of like luxurious textile, textured fabric, plastic. Like this feels more luxury. This is just like utilitarian, and it's red. But the geometry of the block, of the sharpening block, is the same. Because it is the same, right? It's the same sharpening system in both, because Kum makes a white label product for Blackwing. So as you see here, these are the same sharpeners. One is 18 to 20, this is like 10 bucks. So I was like, oh, okay, that's good. But what is the other one, right? So I was looking online. And turns out that the more expensive one, the one that cost like, was it 33 cents? That cost $1.30 more, or no, $9.65 and $10.35. So it costs like 70 cents more. Has a little feature. This is the M version. So as you can see, it's blue, right? It's blue compared to the red, and the mechanism is the same. However, if you look really closely, now the interesting thing about these, and as well as the Blackwing, they all have, if you see right up here, there's extra blades, and they come with extra blades. I don't know if I've ever had a pencil sharpener that got dull. Maybe I just never had them long enough. But there's extra blades, so when this gets dull, you can change the blades. So I was like, okay, that's pretty good. But if we look here at the blue and the red, you're going to notice something. The red has just the 2 shafts for the points. The blue has 2 more at the top, and what these are, they have little ports on the side. So if you have like other like pencil leads, this one, you can sharpen those as well. And I was like, oh, that's a fairly like nice idea. So if you have other leads, like I guess, like I don't know what the sizes are. 3.5 millimeters, 2 millimeters. 2 millimeters, or maybe it makes it a 2 millimeter point. So if you have, like, when I was at art school, we would use these mechanical pencils that just had the lead, and we actually had a separate sharpener just for a lead sharpener. So you'd stick it out, and then you'd put it in this thing, you'd rotate it, and it would sharpen that point. And let's see if I can use one of these other pencils. These might be too big. These are pica pencils, or pica. Really popular with like woodworkers. And so we got this pencil point in there, and I think, will that fit in there? So if I made it long, maybe I got to push it in more. Whoa, is that doing anything? Okay, it doesn't fit on the white side. I can shove it in there. Oh, I can feel it, I can feel it. Oh yeah, so it does make it sharper. Just got to push it back so you don't lose it. Is that sharper than the actual one that you get? Oh yeah, that's a harder point than the one that's built into it. So that's kind of, okay, that's kind of nice. Do the red ones come with extra blades? Yes, the red one comes with extra blades. You can see it right here underneath my finger. There's some blades there. The blue one also has extra blades, I think. I'm pretty sure. Let's double check. Yeah, so there's extra blades in the blue one, and I only see 2 blades, so maybe they don't do extra blades for the small like lead points, but for the main pencil sharpeners, they do both. All three of these. All three of these. Oh, look, red, white, and blue. All three of these have extra blades. So, $10 versus $20, 18 to 20. You are getting a nicer tactile experience with this one versus this one, as well as a little bit more compact size. But other than that, there's really no difference. Like the quality of your sharpening will be the same. Oh, I lost my cherry. Look at that. That's because I'm too much talking here. Too much talking. Okay, I feel like we're not really lit, so I'm gonna go back and like light up again. Just round the outside. This is one of those times we no longer have the excess. Like, will this light well? Okay, good. Oh, still. Nice smoke production, nice flavor. Now, the whole Blackwing thing is kind of ridiculous, right? They've got all kinds of accessories. Like, and I did buy a couple. Like, here's a little clip for your book. So I got it on my. It's kind of like soft, kind of like not plasticky, kind of rubberized material, and then a metal clip on it. Actually, it's kind of nice. Like, I kind of like it. And $12, so not terribly cheap, but it's like not terribly expensive. And you take your pencil and you just kind of click it in there, right? And you have your pencil. I've been using it this way for like 4 weeks now, and it's surprisingly pretty good. Some of the other accessories they have. Oh, here's the notebook. I did buy another one. $12, notebook clip. And the nice thing, the thing about Blackwing, they do all this nice packaging, Apple level packaging, so it's all like pretty. So, but $12, I guess that's not terrible. Now, if we compare that to other sharpeners, I've got this Faber-Castell sharpener. This one is a dual sharpener, as you can see, double sharpener, but it's one of those dual for 2 sizes of pencils, right? One thicker pencil, like an artist crayon kind of pencil, like this from Caran d'Ache, right? This is a Caran d'Ache. So that fits in here, the bigger one, not there, right? So that's really what that's for. And then of course, if you're one of those guys that has carpenter pencils, like this one, there's also the Hansen big old. Oh, is that for that? Oh yeah. Big old sucker to get in there and do that, so you can have that as well. Where's my other ones here? Now, last week I was mentioning that there are different models of the Blackwing, and I did one day when I was down at the what's it called? At Bertram's, I did pick them all up. And my first one was, months and months ago, I bought this one, the white one, the pearl. And I thought this was a little bit, for me, I thought it was too soft. I didn't really like it, so I never really used it. And then I bought these 3 together just about a month or so ago. Or back in September, I bought all 3. So I've been kind of playing around with them. So there's the 602, which is the famous one. And then they have this black one called the Matte, which I think is a harder. Yeah, that's a little bit harder. That has a nice feel to it. And then this is the one that's supposed to be the same as the Festool, the Natural. I guess I don't know if that feels the same. I think the Festool feels softer. I think the Festool is more like the Pearl, at least to me. But so it's interesting. Like, but they're not cheap, right? Like they're $30. They're like $2.50 to $3 a piece. Which if you're buying them one at a time, no big deal. You know, I think if you buy a box, it's like 30 bucks. Now, there's other pencils that you can get. Like, I've always used, like when I was at art school, we used a whole different brand, a blue brand, Stedler Mars. But also when I was out somewhere, or maybe it was at Bertram's, and they had these other pencils from Japan. There's one here from Hayuni called the Mitsubishi, which is a 2B pencil. I haven't used these yet. And then there's another one here, another 2B pencil from a company called Tombow, the Mono 100. I mean, why did I buy these? I don't know. I don't know why I bought these. Well, maybe I bought these at the pen show last summer. I mean, I've had them around for a while, so. The silly things that you get, you know. But I haven't really used pencils like this in many, many years. So it's been an interesting like exploration, moving, you know, trying pencils again, using them on a daily basis. Like in my other notebooks, prior to this one, prior to the woodworking notebooks, I've really been using pen and fountain pens. One of the problems with the fountain pens, like I like these fountain pens, right? This is the cheapest of the, what do they call this? What's this company called? The German company. Oh, now I can't remember. Anyway, these are actually quite nice. Like I like these a lot. They're like relatively inexpensive. You don't have to invest a lot. So if you lose one, you're not like totally out. Like you're not totally like destitute and like upset with yourself. Like you're like, oh man, wish I didn't lose it, but you know, what can you do? But these are nice. Oh, Lamy, there it is, Lamy. The Lamy Safari is the name of this one. They come in different size nibs. I think fine, medium, and coarse. And they're nice. They're budget friendly. Maybe like $40, $45. I have one. I bought this one because I lost my other one. So, you know, there's that. Let's see how our coffee's doing. Oh, actually, it's nice. It's very different. Like it's not, it's complementary, but in a very different way. Like there's more of a juxtaposition, right? Like this has got spice and strength. This is kind of like pear, like actual pear, like the flavor of pear with some brightness. So there's like contrast, which actually I'm kind of enjoying more than it would be if it was necessarily complementary. But like I said, I had been using pencils back in the old days when I was in art school, and I think I've got a box of them here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. This is one of my old art bin boxes. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a whole bunch of other pencils. And these are all like from the late, like 1987, 1988 is when I got these. And we have it here. Gosh, I haven't really looked at this. Oh, here's one that I use. So, you know, I used a lot of 5Bs, so softer leads. This one's by Royal Sovereign from Great Britain. And then we would use China markers from Barrel Blaisdell, right? These are the type that, you know, you unwrap, right? You unwrap it, you pull in that string, and then you unwrap it. There we go. Right, you pull that out, and then it exposes a little more of a tip. Now I could probably take that and then shape it. Like let's say if I take that Faber-Castell, I think that'll fit in there, and I could shape that a little bit. Whoops, starting to cut into the paper. But you shape it just a little bit so you can get some style on it. What else do we have in here? Oh, Conti pencils. Here's a Conti pencil, HB. Big old Conti pencil. Actually, that will work in this Faber-Castell sharpener. Oh, yeah. Okay, not bad. Now, like I said, in the old days, we just used these old school sharpeners. I guess that still works. What else is in here? Barrel pencils. Oh, here's the blue ones that I was talking about before. Oh, they're also barrel turquoise. That's what they were, not Kohinoors. Gosh, I had a lot of pencils. Did I use all these? Oh, a lot of them are colored as well, so. Oh, I'm well set. Oh, here's some old school classics down here. Let's see. Can I get them out? I should reorganize this. Because they're all in here like Hema Jang. Yeah, look at this one. This is Dixon Ticonderoga, medium point. Man, look at that old school. Like this is probably what I used in high school. Maybe this was a high school pencil. Oh, Eberhard Faber Mongol, unused. I wonder if that could be worth anything. Maybe I could like put them on eBay and like make some cash out of it. All right, well that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. So the cigar is actually pretty nice. Like I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm not disappointed. Like, I was worried that is it going to be like disappointing for the money? I mean, $25 is still a lot of money, right? I think that's a lot of money to pay for a cigar. And it should really perform well at that price point. I don't know what other people may think about that, but I definitely think that cigars at that price point need to perform. Put all this back in their boxes and where they belong so that they're out of the way. I mean, I'm kind of thinking that maybe we're getting close to the first third, so we can rate the first third. Now, it's a good performer. Is it a great performer? Like, am I thinking that the flavor and the body are excellent plus? No, I think it's very good. It's a very good smoke. It's a very good body, very good flavor. It's fairly medium heavy, so I'm not going to say, I wouldn't say it's heavy, but it's, a little more heavy. And, I mean, I'll say very good plus, 8.5 for the body. Probably 8.5, 8 plus for the flavor. The flavor is good, very good. But it's not like, whoa, man, it's awesome. Which at $25, I kind of would like to see it be more awesome. Right, so we're talking 16, 17, 8, 17 plus 8, 25. Okay, starting off, I mean, it's starting off well. Like this performance, I'm going to say, from what I remember of our scoring of like things like the Revenge from Roma Craft, which was 86. This is in that range. The performance-wise, it's in that range so far. You know, 7 to 12, great. Twice that amount, is that value? Is there value there? Right now, I'm a little bit hard-pressed to say there would be. Rusty says, any word in next weekend in Shippensburg? I mean, if everyone's up for it, let me know. I mean, I'm sorry, totally forgot to bring that up, but I think George was asking about that earlier, but or maybe texting me separately about that. But if you guys are up for it, I think I can make that work. So it's really kind of like if everybody's game, right? So if you're interested and want to go, let me know in the comments, and then we can start putting that together. So there's pleasure to this, right? There's enjoyment, flavor-wise, spice-wise, body-wise. And it's good. It's very good. It's solid. It's enjoyable. But is it wow? Is it like, no, not yet. Not yet, at least. Not yet. I would like it to be. Tony says, I work next Saturday, so we won't be able to get there till 7:30, but I'm game. Oh, all right. All right, so Tony's in. I guess Rusty, we mean you'd be in. How about anyone else? George, Brian, Mom, Greg? Yeah, no, Craig, that's kind of far. Especially just for like a night. You're like, I'm here. All right, bye. Yeah, it's very good. There's a lot of interesting things happening. Flavor-wise, complexity, spice, body. It's performing. Like typically we don't really think too much about how the price correlates to performance. But I think there's a threshold, right? That once you get past a certain, like for many years it was $13, right? $13. Like, I didn't want to spend more than, like when the Drew Estate T52 Bellicoso started to like, increase past $13, I was like, okay. As much as I like that stock cut T52 Bellicoso, get to $15 to $18, and that's slowing down my enthusiasm and my purchasing of that cigar. And I wonder how much that's going to happen now that, the tariffs are impacting cigar pricing. How much of a dampening effect will that have on cigar purchases? Like, even my favorite cigars, right? Like, let's see the Revenge, which at one time was like $7, and I thought that was a great deal at $7. And then now it's like around 11, 12. And as it pushes up, if it pushes up to $15, my enthusiasm to buy boxes of that is going to be dampened, right? Now, the other alternative is you can find like cheaper price cigars, like the cigars that I've been smoking from, I don't know, did we smoke that last weekend? The big torpedo from, I think we did, from, no, we didn't do that last week. I got a bunch of torpedoes from, we did Aladino last weekend. But I think I showed you, I got these torpedo seconds from Two Guys Cigars, which are great deals, $5 a stick. But they're more filler cigars. They're more for cigars for you to watch while you're mindlessly watching television. So you're not really thinking about the cigar. You're not looking for experience. You're just looking for something to fill the time and pass the time. They're not terribly exciting cigars. So the alternative is to move to more something like that. Cheaper price, but less interesting. Which, is not terribly a great experience. So it's like, oh, do you really want to waste your time with that? So, I don't know. Rusty says, is George here now? I don't think he's here yet. He's probably, typically on Thursday night, they're hosting the NFL games for Thursday Night Football. So he usually will come in and out sporadically. I'm surprised he hasn't come in yet, but he's probably a bit jammed up with whatever's happening at Capitol tonight. But like I said, next Thursday, we will be at Capitol, but we will not be doing a live stream since I'll actually be serving coffee there and engaging with everyone. So if you have the chance, come down. It's $100 for the tasting experience. You get this cigar, which is a $25 cigar. And then they give you they have chocolates from Vosges, coffee from Spro. They're going to have some libations as well. The chocolates from Vosges, for whatever reason, Davidoff is being very coy about what it is. I met the owner of Vosges many, many years ago. Vosges is a chocolate company based in Chicago. Very nice quality chocolates. And I knew the owner for a couple of years, but I haven't talked to her since that era. It's been like probably 15 years. But very nice girl. And I don't know if she still owns it. She probably sold it off and made a lot of money on it. You know, one of the things you think about, now 5-inch cigar, how long is that going to last? Now on the Davidoff website, if you look at their page, it gives you a listing of 50 to 70 minutes. And you know, it's a fairly thick cigar, 61 in the center of the Perfecto shape. And it's smoking at a good pace. You know, it's not fast, it's not terribly slow. It's actually slower than I expected. Like I was a little bit worried that it might go a bit fast for the show. But it seems to be going at a fairly good pace. And man, I have just been having sniffles for the last like month and a half. It's driving me insane. I'm hitting it with drugs, you know, like decongestant, and it works to a certain extent. But I'm covered in like red oak dust because we were like cutting up a bunch of like, the back of my truck is totally filled with firewood now. We were splitting it all. It's like like Matt had a whole bunch of extra wood. He's like, "Do you need some wood? Because I need to get rid of it." And I was like, "All right, I'll take whatever you want to give me." He's like, "So we filled up the truck." I was like, "All right, that's good." But right now it's like 19% moisture because the tree just was felled earlier this summer. Actually, yeah, like maybe in the springtime. So it's still got a bit of heavy moisture in it. It's not the 20 plus 30% moisture that it was, but now we're like just below 20, 19, 18. So if we really wanted to season it, it probably needs like another year to season out after being split. So Tony says Hold Fest was great. Moving to moving to the My Father Vega Cubano Robusto. Oh, nice, nice. If you're interested, if you're interested in the woodworking thing, which I'm always interested in right now. So the Woodcraft here in Timonium in Baltimore is having a event starting tomorrow for Craig Tools. Craig does those pocket hole jig things, and they're doing demos for the next on tomorrow at 11 and on Saturday at 1. I've got a birthday party to go to on Saturday, so I won't go to that one. So I was thinking I'll go to that one. I'll go to the one at 11 tomorrow. They've got these like new like power tools. I'm still trying to figure out like what is that really supposed to be? Like where do they really fit in? They're not terribly cheap. Like the skill stuff is relatively affordable. They're kind of like in the Ryobi kind of price range. And I don't know if they're really any better. They do have this one tool called the Rebel that's supposed to be like a domino kind of looking thing that you can drill pocket holes more. I don't know if it's more precise or just like I was going to go check it out. I played around with it a little bit, then I was going to go back and see about understanding it more because it's kind of pricey. It's like $350 if you get it with a battery. And I think the thing is, I don't really make things that have. I don't really use pocket hole jigs a lot or pocket holes a lot. Sometimes, and I have a little tiny clamp-on jig that you drill in that I bought many years ago that works for what I need. Like, and I think that, and they have they make a whole bunch of other tools that you can make it easier. And since I don't build cabinets really, I don't really need it. And I don't really want, and that's part of me that doesn't want to buy any of those others. I don't want to get anything else because I don't want to be encouraged to use more pocket holes. I want to discourage myself to use them. I do have a little bit of a stigma about them. I'll admit that. But I use them still. I still use them, but I've been keeping it to the manual way of making it so that I'm not relying upon it heavily. Because I think that when you participate in a lot of these woodworking forums, a lot of these people will talk about like using the pocket holes, and I think some people just overuse it. They're like not well hidden, and they're kind of like it's not very pretty when you see the mortises of these pocket holes. You're like, pretty good, pretty good. knowing my luck, if somebody from the only time that someone from a cigar company will watch a video of this live stream will be this one of Davidoff, and they'll be like, "Hey, so you should have said that it was an amazing cigar." I was like, "Well, it's a good cigar. It's a very good cigar. It's just not an awesome cigar. It's not like excellent, right? It's not above that. Not yet, at least." I don't know. How about you guys? What are you guys doing this weekend? And then, so that's what I'm doing. Saturday, I've got a birthday party, and then my nephew wants to go play paintball on Sunday. So we're going to take him playing paintball. Means I got to get my gear together. I haven't used it since last November. So I got to find everything. I should need to do that tomorrow. At least I've like lost some weight in the past year, so I'm not this, all like. I should be a little bit faster now. I won't be huffing and puffing as much as I used to. Ended up going to Tractor Supply today up in Shrewsbury. I don't know what it is about Tractor Supply, but like every time I go there, like I always end up buying the bad stuff, right? Like so I'm there. Usually it's there because I usually haven't eaten by the time we get there. So it was like 2 o'clock we get to like Tractor Supply. I haven't eaten since like breakfast. Since I had the live stream this morning, I had apples and like a donut. And I was like, man, I'm hungry. So I was like, what should I get? Oh, they had like this like moon pie. I was like, moon pie. And then I got a bag of those orange slices. It's like, oh God. I told the cashier, I was like, every time I come here, I just get the worst stuff. I ended up buying some new pants. I was like, oh, 2 pants. They have these Blue Mountain pants, which I'm wearing now, right? These are Blue Mountain pants. Not bad, like nice quality, like regular, like dungaree kind of pants, right? Trousers, and $12.99, so $13 on special. I was like, oh, I like that price. These I bought for $17 back in April, so to see them at $13, I was like, oh, good, $13. Craig says, speaking of weight loss, I just started on Wegovy. Oh, nice. I'm presuming that Wegovy is kind of like the Ozempics and the Manjaros of the world. And how's it going? I tell you, when I was in the hospital in July, they took me off of it all. For the most part, I was fine. Like as far as like, but probably because I was super ill and like in the hospital, so I was all like messed up. When I got home, I was still off of it for a couple more weeks. And I tell you, I guess there's residual effects of the drugs, and they finally wore off. And man, for like a week, I was just famished all the time. Like it was miserable. Like I was and I mean ravenously hungry, like insatiably hungry. I was like, oh my God, I gotta have something to eat. So it kind of makes me scared. Like, what are these drugs doing to us to curb the appetite? And then, so the idea is that, you get to a certain point and then you get off of it. What's going to happen when that point comes? Like, I'm like, I don't know, like I'm kind of scared of that, right? It's like, will I just be a ravenous eater at that point? Like I'm just out of control. Like, and I mean, I was like I felt like I was out of control. Like I was like, I need to get a sandwich. Like every 2 hours, like I need a sandwich. I need something. So I ended up going to Wegmans and buying like a big sub, right? And then I would slice it. And then every 2 hours, I was like, oh, I gotta. It was really, really kind of bad. It was terrible. And the difficult part, like I was away for the last few weeks. And when you're away, it's so much more difficult to eat well. I'm traveling, so it's like, oh, South Shore Pizza in Massachusetts. I got to go try more. So you go to have pizza, and then you go get lobster roll, and you get a burger. And you're like, God, this is just not good. Oh, cheesesteak, that looks good. Oh, more pizza. Let's try that. Oh. It's a wonder that I'm able to lose any weight at all. Oh, it is the same as Ozempic. Okay. So in Canada, when you're getting on these kind of things like Ozempic and Wegovy, in Canada, is it something that is really mainly prescribed for diabetes patients, or can you get it as a weight loss treatment? Because here in the United States, if the insurance will cover it if you're diabetic, like type 2 diabetes, you will get that. But if you're not, if you're just doing it for weight loss, man, they charge you like $1,000 or some crazy amount. It's crazy amount of money. And it makes you wonder what's going to happen. Like as they sunset all of these healthcare plans here in the United States because of, what's going to happen to a lot of people? Tony says Wegovy is the drug for weight loss. Ozempic is the drug for diabetes. All of them have one for weight loss and one for diabetes. Oh, okay. See, I don't even know about that. I really don't even pay attention. My PCP is like, you need to take this. All right, sounds good. I tend not to think too much about a lot of these things. I'm just like, I go to an expert so that I can be guided. It could be to my peril in the long term, but I tend to go to experts so that I don't have to become an expert. I don't have to think too much about it. Like, I got this 3D printer, Creality Ender 3. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Really do. And it was gifted to me, so I'm very appreciative. And I was using it. And my brother, who's been 3D printing for quite some time, when I told him, oh yeah, I got this 3D printer, he was like, oh, okay, well that's cool. He was supportive, but he was also like, well, if you want to if you want to have your hobby as, if you want your hobby to be 3D printers, that's a good one to have. But if you want your hobby to be 3D printing, there's better ones. I was like, what? And after a while, and it was working great, and then after a while it started to act up, and you really have to become a 3D printing expert in order to really manipulate it and figure it out. And I just didn't have the bandwidth. So I was like, forget it. I'm gonna let it chill, and maybe it'll be better. And then I let it chill. I came back to it, still wasn't any better. I was like, oh god. A couple weeks ago, I saw this Black Friday thing came up, right? Black Friday. Bamboo Labs, Black Friday sale, up to 45% off. So their P1S, which is this 3D printer that has a housing, and I think the bed is what moves. I don't know. The bed moves, or the head moves in some of them, and the bed, I don't know. I really don't know these things. And it has multiple filament dispensers, so you can do multiple colors. And I was like, oh. Normally this setup is $750. And it's on sale right now for $550. And I was like, ooh, $550. Maybe. So I was thinking about it. Because my brother he's got the P1S. And I think he's got a couple others. And he's just like, yeah, man, it's so much easier. You just print. You don't even have to think about it. It's almost foolproof. So it's like, huh. So as I was reading about it, I was watching some videos on YouTube, and a lot of these 3D printing guru dudes, they're all up, a lot of them are up in arms. They're like, Bamboo Labs, right? Because a lot of these things are working on open source materials. Well, Bamboo Labs is kind of like Apple, so they're not open source. They're kind of they have their own specialty code. But evidently the specialty code that they're making or something like that is very proprietary, but it's also very reliable and very easy to use and just kind of foolproof. And I said to my brother one day, I was like, hey man, so you heard about this new controversy? Because evidently Bamboo Labs changed something and they riled up a whole bunch of people. I didn't really understand it, but I was like, did you hear about these? He's like, yeah, I heard about that. But you know what? I was like, does that matter? He's like, no, dude. It works. That's the key part. It works, so you don't have to think about it. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was watching this video from this guy, 3D Print Rancher is his YouTube name. He's a YouTube channel. 3D Print Rancher, I think that's it, 3D Ranch or something like that. He actually is a guy that I know from another channel that he does called Den of Tools. He does all these Harbor Freight videos. And I was like, oh, that's the Den of Tools guy. And he's built his own 3D printing farm in his house, because I guess he prints stuff and sells it. And he was talking about the P1S. He's like, it's a great deal. You should buy it. Like I've got like 4 of them, 5 of them. And I was like, what? That's crazy. So if you're interested in 3D printing, the Bamboo Labs P1S is on sale for $550, which is $200 off. Which is probably a great deal in 3D printers. Craig says that my PCP had to do forms for the insurance that cover Wegovy. Cost me about $100. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Yeah, the weight loss thing is an interesting battle. Like, you know, you like the idea of it, right? But then it's tough. It's a tough battle. Like, you know, you like, especially for me, you know, I've been involved with food and gourmet stuff and chefs and restaurants for decades. So it's difficult. Like, no matter how nice a quality we're eating, I guess we're just eating too much. And for me, I feel it's been dramatic. Like I was editing a video the other day, or working on an edit, and I was footage from like 2-3 years ago, and I was looking at myself, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy moly. And I think I said this last week on this stream. I'm like, there's a part of me that's kind of like perplexed. It's like, I'm meeting people now, this year, in 2025, that I've never met before, that have never known me until now. They know me like this, in this format. They don't know me from bigger days. It's very interesting. It's very different, very different. I should probably turn the fan higher because the smoke lingers a little bit. Let's have some more of our coffee and see how it's going. Makes me wonder, like, you know, the difference between physical size. Like, I wonder, there's part of me that wonders, like, am I reluctant or hesitant or slow to edit these older videos that I've shot that I haven't edited and released because I look different? Like, maybe it was a picture that I saw and I was all like, I was like, whoa, whoa. I don't remember looking at myself in the mirror and thinking that. Look in the mirror and I think of myself as a svelte dude. But I gotta say, you know, I bought that jean jacket, and that jean jacket is extra large. And I was like, extra large? I haven't worn extra large in decades, like since like the 90s. I was like, what? Like, I'm kind of curious. Like, this weekend when I go to play paintball, I've got my old jerseys, my old team jerseys. And I'm like, oh man, I bet they were, I could, like, a year ago, I could still fit, a year and a half ago, I could still fit into them. But they were tighter, right? They were like snug. Now I think they're going to be like looser. Like, what? Doesn't make any sense to me. Craig says that cigars done was excellent, but my hands are frozen. Time to, yeah, go inside and defrost. By the way, how's the house? Like, if you're still with us, how's the house? I know it was all new a few months ago when we talked, and you've been working on it. So I got the big heater. I got a big heater, the big 30,000 BTU radiant propane heater, like just here, just outside the shop. It's probably like 6 feet away from me. Now, it's not terribly cold here. It's probably like 55 to 60 degrees. So it's not terribly cold, but it's working nicely. I feel toasty. I'm just wearing this sweatshirt and the t-shirt underneath it. So I'm fairly comfortable. Not totally toasty, but fairly comfortable. As you can see, it's this company here called, they gave this to me. The company gave it to me, Tremont Nail. I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but while I was in Massachusetts, I decided I wanted to visit this nail company. They make cut nails, like I think I did say this, masonry type nails, and they're really nice quality, but very old school, like super old school. And I heard about them several months ago, and I was like fascinated by it. I was like, people still use that? They still make that? And so I bought a couple, and I liked them, but I mean, I haven't used them at all. But I was so fascinated by it. So these are like cut nails. While I was there taking a tour, I did put together a sample pack for myself. And so I'll get the big one so you can see it. This is like I think this is a 4D nail. But these are the cut nails, right? So they're wedge shaped like a masonry nail. And evidently these types of nails are much more secure holding than regular wire type nails. And part of that reason is because it cuts through the wood rather than splits the fibers, right? So if you can imagine like a regular like wire nail, as it's coming through your fibers, it just kind of moves them to the side. Where this, the blunt kind of end, actually like slices the fibers and wedges itself. So it's a lot harder to extract, but it also holds really well. Now, one of the problems is though, is that let's say this is the grain, you have to drive it like this with, through the grain so that it slices the grain. Now, if you do it this way, right, the wedge way across the grain, you risk splitting the actual board. So evidently there is a technique. I haven't used them enough to really get, but they have, that's the kind of straight nail. And then they have like these what they call the clinch head the rose head clinch nails, which like this, they've got a decorative cap on the top, which I think are very pretty nails. Like these are designs, you could leave them on the surface and they kind of have a nice look to them on your furniture pieces. So yeah, these just a whole different bunch of sizes so that I could see. Because when you're looking at them online, I don't know enough about them to really know what they look like or what does it mean. Like I bought this nail, like an inch nail, and I thought, oh, an inch will be plenty. And then I was trying to use it and I realized, okay, it'll only like go into the final piece just that much. I was like, that's not going to hold. All right, I'm going to say we're done with the second third. And this whole cigar has been very good, and it's been very consistent, right? So really, we're kind of at the same point, 8 plus for flavor, 8 plus for body. Okay. Here in the garage, I decided that I was gonna I've been thinking more about like well-being, right? And so you've got all these tools and they generate noise, right? So I got an app on my phone, one of those decibel apps, like the loudness apps, and I started like turning on all the equipment, like each individually, and like recording how much dBs they are, because like you get to 80 dB, that's pretty loud. Like a lot of these shop vacs are like 80, 84 dB, and that's fairly loud. So I was like going around, making it. I made little labels so that I put them on all the equipment so that I would know like this is how much dB it is. Why? I don't know why. I don't know why that's coming. Like the planer is like 100 dB. You're like, God, that's so loud. Actually, the planer is so loud that like, if I wear these isolating headphones, I still feel like it's too loud. So I actually will get like earplugs, put those in, and then put the cans on top, and that's more comfortable. I should probably do the hand power tools as well. It's you know, it's enjoyable. The cigar is enjoyable. It's not disappointing. Where my reservation with the cigar comes from is like, it's the price. It's like, it's good. It's very good, very enjoyable. But $25. I would like to be more like, oh God, that's amazing for $25, right? That's more where I would like to be. Tony says, rule of thumb is face thickness plus 2 times the face is the size of fastener you need. So a 3/4 inch board needs a 2 1/4 inch nail. Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. I have not been using any kind of formulation for the length of fastener. I've just been like, okay, I think that'll fit. Oh, there's my compressor. I need to unplug that thing. I had a pancake compressor, which is pretty loud. And then during my trip, I found this guy online who was like selling this used Senko PC1010, which is the small Senko compressor. And that's running at 69 dBs, so it's not terribly loud. And when I picked it up, I was like, you know, he wanted $100 for it, so okay. And he was away, so his brother was the one, you know, handling the transaction. And we powered it up and tested it, but it wasn't holding pressure. I was like, what's going on with this thing? And so his brother called him up and was like, hey, you know, this is not holding pressure, what should we do? And I said, what about 50? And the guy was like, well, no, how about 75 or 70? He was like, how about 75 or 70? I was like, all right, 70 works. Because I figured, you know, it's probably like probably like a connection that's loose and leaking there. And I finally busted it out the other day, and I was like looking at it, working on it, seeing what's going on with it. And then I realized that there's a drain plug at the bottom. It was loose. It was just open. The valve was open. Close the valve. Works perfect. I was like, oh, awesome. Good deal. Good deal. Like if you bought the PC1010 new, I think they're like $130. So nice. It's nice. It's more compact. It's quieter, and works just as good as the pancake compressor. And like I said, today we were at that guy, that furniture maker, because he was selling a saw. He was selling a Festool miter saw, the big Festool miter saw. And so Matt ended up buying it for like $500, which sounds like a lot. And you can buy a lot of saw for $500. But if you bought this saw new, it's $1,900. And I was like, that's a hell of a deal. It's a heck of a deal. This is an older tool. Like it was built in 2009. But I mean, the guy, this furniture maker, man, he took really good. Like it was in great shape. I was like, wow, this is very, very clean. Like I've seen a couple of these saws available on the marketplace for less than $500. Like there's this one guy that I saw, I talked to last year in Philadelphia, who was selling his miter saw Festool for $300. And he was like, it's $300, but here's the deal. It has been well used. It's a little bit like messed up, but it still works, still cuts straight, but it's well used. And it looked like it had been run hard. $300. And then I found this other guy in New Jersey recently, this last month, who's selling the same saw, $400, but it's in pieces. Like he says, it's like, it works, but it's in pieces. You still have to put it back together. I was like, $400? That's crazy. It's like, so when this guy came up with 500, I was like, whoa, that's a good deal. Turns out that he was selling that Festool saw because he bought a DeWalt. Because he's got a particular operation that he does where he needs a 12-inch miter saw because he gets that little more depth of cut. So he needed that. So that's he ended up buying a DeWalt and was selling this one. I was like, oh, 12-inch DeWalt. That's kind of cool. Like I said, if you're looking for tools, the DeWalt Service Center in York, Pennsylvania has something called their trade-up program. So if you bring them a tool, any used tool, they will sell you another tool, DeWalt version, for 40% off the MSRP. So it's actually you get some really good pricing on it. Like I was like, oh, that's pretty good. So if you're interested, if you're looking for something, I know I've said this before, but if you're interested, if you're looking for a new tool, you can bring one old, and actually I bought a router. I was like, I could get that router. And I went there and I brought this old Dremel that I had, right? The Dremel died. I was using it, I killed it. And I was like, what's going on with this Dremel? So I was like, okay, let me go up there one day. So one day I was up in New York and I brought it with me. And I walked into the service center. I was like, hey, I would like to do the trade-in. I got my Dremel. And the one girl was like, I don't know if we can take that for the router. I was like, I said, well, you did tell me before that it was any tool. She's like, yeah, but it's got to be somewhat commensurate, right? And I was like, all right. And then the other girl was like, who was actually taking care of me. She's like, well, let me ask. She's like, I don't care. I was like, let me ask the manager. She went to the manager. The manager was like, yeah, we can do it. I was like, oh, awesome. Because I feel my thought is that DeWalt is like they probably want more of their tools out in the world. It's better for them to sell a tool and have you use it than not have you use it, use somebody else's brand, right? So I was like, oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I still haven't used it. Like I haven't had a need for it yet, but I was like, I got it. I'm ready. I'm ready. So I've been, because I've been doing this woodworking thing, like I've actually started doing videos about woodworking on a separate channel than this one. And I did a video back in September about a tool that I had gotten. This little like sharpening jig. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but that video has performed like crazy good. Like for me, crazy good. Like right now, I think it's like 21,000 views. I was like, whoa. That's crazy. Now I know other guys, other YouTubers have like hundreds of thousands, millions of views on their videos. And this is only one at 21,000. But I was like, man, this is like the only one. This is like the only one I've ever done that performed that well. And then I released another one this week that in 2 days got 13,000 views. Now I think now it's at 15,000. And it's one of these like silly videos. Like I've been watching those, like that guy Dana Tools and this other guy Harbro Freight, and all they do is talk about like sales. And I was like, I'm gonna try that. So I made a video when I was at Lowe's one day. I was like, got my phone, got my microphone, and I'm just walking around. This is the Black Friday deals at Lowe's. And man, I was like, oh, people really watch that. I was like, huh. Very surprising. But I mean, it makes sense. Like some people like have, some of these channels are like they just do tool reviews and they get really great performance with their videos. Like there's this one channel that I watch called 731 Woodworks. This guy down in like Arkansas. And he's got a Facebook forum called 731 Woodworks. And I read that forum. And someone was complaining the other day, like, I wish he would do more build videos, like showing stuff that he's building. And I was thinking about it today because I was watching one of his videos, and he was even on that thread. He came in, he was like, "Well, I really do a lot of tool reviews now. That's really my interest. My interest is really tool reviews. And he's one of those guys that hypes up whatever he's like reviewing. He's really got a, it's like the woodworking game changer. It's all, everything's a game changer, right? Everything's like amazing and a game changer. You're kind of like, can everything be a game changer? If everything's a game changer, then maybe nothing's changing. And he was, he had a video that came out today and he was like hyping something. And I was like, and I was thinking about that thread and I was thinking about him and I was thinking about what he was saying. And I was like, this guy makes these videos and he talks about, this is like the greatest thing I've added to my workshop. And I'm like, what are you making that this is helping you do work better? Like, you're not showing any of the work you're doing. You're just talking about it. So I'm always like, so it just made me wonder, like, what is it about this tool that you say is awesome that is changing your woodworking game? And I think a lot of YouTubers do that. It's like, what are they doing that is changing the game? I don't know. Ugh. I think I took my 12-hour decongestant like at 7 a.m. So we're past that, and like now the sniffles are returning. And the temperature is dropping. I can feel the temperature getting, the air that's coming in is definitely colder than it was just like 10 minutes ago. I tell you, that's the one thing I think that over the past year that I've missed the most was, when we had the old roastery, we had the front room where we were able to smoke. I had it set up with exhaust and like heat. A nice place to smoke and not be too cold. I miss that. Maybe that's why I haven't smoked as much. Like, there was a time when we were smoking every day. 2, 3 cigars a day. Like every day, let's go to the cigar shop and hang out. I like the cigar shop hanging out thing. Like, I think that was really a great time. Like, what I enjoy about the cigar shop world is that you go there and you get to see people that you don't normally see, or you get to people watch, like especially where we used to smoke in a town called Towson, right in the heart of Towson. So the big bay windows, you'd sit out by the windows and you could see all the people outside walking by. And it's just a little more community rather than like here in my garage, it's just me. It's like, it's just me and whatever video I'm watching. Not terribly exciting. And then when you're smoking a cigar that's just like this past week, where it's just been those like second cigars, it's just like, that aren't really great. They're just like fillers. You're like, it could be better. So our cigar, it's the performance has been very consistent. Like, it's still got that spice. It's got good body. It's got good complexity. But it's been very static. So I think we can look at towards our last scores. So I'm going to say again, very good plus for the flavor, very good plus for the body. Now, burn and draw have been excellent. I'm going to say excellent for those because they've been very, very consistent. Consistency, very consistent. So I'm going to say excellent overall. Now, overall, I think we have to look at the overall score. So 8, 8.5, 8.5, 8.5, 8.5, 8.5, 9, 9. So I'm going to say we're 8.5. So that gives us a total score of 85.5. So if I remember correctly, the Revenge was like 86. So I do think that this is, performance-wise, pleasure-wise, I think it's very similar to the Revenge. At just over twice the price. So while the cigar has been very good, very enjoyable, nice performer, at $25, I really would like to see it be a lot more, like a lot more. Maybe more complexity, maybe more refinement would be good. Like typically I think that when we're in the 90 plus range for cigars, there's a level of refinement that is not present in the other cigars. Like, this is the type of cigar that I would smoke on a normal basis, like a daily, everyday basis, right? Whereas things like the Meerfels and all that would be the rare cigar. Those are like the 90 plus cigars. That's, and I think when you get to $25, above 20, I think you want to have performance commensurate with that, which means that I would like to see a cigar at this price to be at that higher level of performance. Because this, while a very good cigar, you can get cigars that are equivalent of this, perhaps even a little bit better, for considerably less. Like now that we're really short, the spice is increasing because, like you're getting that proximity. And I am getting cold. It's cold. It's cold now. My feet are starting to get cold. We're not quite at Craig level cold, but we're getting cold. Like I remember, I'm glad I was able to, I brought all my plants in. Like I had a bunch of plants outside, like my bonsai and like, my coffee tree and like some herbs. I was like, okay, we're gonna eat like especially the herbs, like the basil. Like I've got like Thai basil, the purple basil, the holy basil, as well as the regular Western basil. Brought all that inside finally. It's like, oh, it's getting chilly. I was kind of worried while I was away because I was like, is it cold at home? I don't know. Are they going to be alive? I hope they're, like the coffee tree got a little bit chilly, like it was starting to get a little bit brown on the leaves. I was like, oh, got to bring that sucker inside. But the Davidoff Escurio Gran Perfecto, very good. 85.5. Wish it was better for the price. I'm surprised George Brightman was able to join us tonight. All right, so that's pretty much all I have for you this week. Remember, next week we're not going to have a live stream because I'm going to be at Capitol at the Davidoff event, smoking the same cigar again, serving coffee and having chocolates. So if you can join us, come down. The link is to the event registration is in the description down below. And if you can join us, that'd be a good time. I think it'd be fun. It's nice to hang out with people on a casual basis. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful week out there. Not too cold. We did have our change of time, so now it's getting darker sooner. Like I remember we were out cutting the logs, splitting the logs, and I was like, what time is it? It was all dark already. I was like, what time is it? It's only 5:30. It's like, gosh. I was like, oh man, I'm getting nervous because I was like, is it 7:30? Like, I'm going to be late? And it turns out it was only 5:30. I was like, oh, I got plenty of time. So by the time we finished like around 6. Yeah. All right, so back again in 2 weeks. So hope you have a great one, and see you next time. And now I got to get up and end the stream. All right, everyone, have a great week. 2 weeks. Oops, where is it?